Side eye. Bombastic side eye.
That starts getting sus.
It was physical.
Let this be a lesson to everyone. Lawyer up.
What a piece of...
Hey guys, welcome to Honey Hearts. I'm Sandra.
And I'm V.
Today we're going to discuss stories that are sometimes heartbreaking and heartwarming.
Ooh.
Let's get started. Best friends. It takes a lot to call someone a best friend. There's a lot of commitment in that kind of relationship, but there's a time and place when you have to kind of call it quits. Let's see what OP's best friend has done to make her question this friendship. This story is from r/best of redditor updates, titled, My 26 female best friend, 23 female, might be in love with my husband, 26 male. Where do I go from here? Alright, originally posted this February. Throw away because my husband stalks Reddit. Also, I know he isn't cheating on me. He's at home more often than not, and I have full access to his electronics, as does he to mine. Note, some identifying details have been changed to protect my privacy, such as names. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both our lives, as we both came from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband, said that he was clingy, and tried to insert himself into our friendship. WTF. She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autism, and PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all.
Okay, so far, lots of good context. I'm wondering where this is going.
Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time. And my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often too.
That's nice.
However, last year, my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January.
Aww.
I was working and fell ill because at the time I was working a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed and I had become more busy to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. So far, wholesome.
Yeah, so far happy. I'm just kind of waiting for the but wait moment.
That's when our dynamic changed. Recently, I applied to school and I'm currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college too. I've been super busy. One day, my husband gets a text and it's from my best friend. She asks if they can talk, as she was upset. I'm a little nervous now.
Yeah, I'm like, why? Is something wrong or...
He took the phone call with me protesting and a few minutes later said, quote, Sandra.
Sandra,
no.
is this you?
Parentheses, fake name. We need to go get Carla. Parentheses, fake name. Her father is picking a fight with her. I get upset as we were watching a movie together and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed.
Wait.
Wait, 3 adults cuddling, 2 in a marriage. That's a little...
Wait, so is Sandra OP?
Yes, Sandra is OP.
And so the best friend was calling OP's husband.
Yep.
To do what?
So best friend Carla is calling OP's husband to pick her up from her dad's house or from her house. I don't know if she's living with her dad, but because Carla and her dad got into an argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go along with the story so far, assuming they have that close a relationship.
Yeah. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for the night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asked to cuddle with the two of us in our bed.
What?
I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did was not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries.
I'm confused. So did they end up cuddling before she left? Did he consent to that?
I think husband consented to cuddling, but I don't think they actually did cuddle. I think they were settling in, but friend's dad called.
I'm uncomfortable. Is that?
No,
Am I behind on the?
I think three
on the-
full grown adults cuddling would make me uncomfortable too.
Like, okay, if three platonic friends who were, to be completely honest, if they were three girls, like just close friends,
Yeah.
I'm like, no one's gonna bat an eye.
But no,
But
like a
couple?
cuddling with a husband and wife.
And it's initiated by the best friend, and the husband agrees.
Yeah.
My mind is going to the worst places right now. I'm trying to give
Like
the
it's
story
one
benefit
thing
of the doubt.
if both parties of the married couple
Yeah.
consented and initiated, but
Mhm.
when it's initiating by the third party,
And only the husband agrees?
ever since when we had an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. This is ongoing.
She calls the husband?
Yes. One
But I
day,
thought she didn't like him in the beginning, right?
yeah.
What?
One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mother-in-law overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, no, not really. But every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help, that she is going through a hard time, blah, blah, blah. It is important to note that my mother-in-law was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion, and my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. I asked him how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in the bed with us. He kind of deflated and tried to say, it's different, blah, blah, blah. His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, it is the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with excuses.
Wow.
Go stepdad.
Stepdad and mom-in-law coming in with, I think, really nice that they're confronting the issue head on.
Right. James respects Mark quite a lot, actually. Mark raised him since he was 8 and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him and that was that. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. Carla, what you doing, girl?
And what is... I'm sorry, I'm not trying to... But to be equal fairness, this is not the first time. Why is he picking up Carla's phone calls?
She says it's because she is bored and has no one else to talk to. I snap, I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation. How when she calls, he answers. How it is making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response, she's just lonely, you're letting it get to you. That night, I slept in the living room.
I'm calling it now. There's some emotional cheating, emotional infidelity, even if there's no physical actions happening.
You are letting the mother of your child, your 6-month-old child, sleep in the living room?
Over Carla? A random third party who's calling you day and night to vent? Are you her therapist? Are you her BFF? What's going on here?
Can't help but side eye.
Side eye, bombastic side eye.
I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time he calls. They talk, she complains about her life, etc. Almost like she is his girlfriend or something. I am starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated.
Dump him. I'm sorry.
Number one advice.
I'm sorry. Like, okay, I know. Sometimes I jump the gun. But come on. They're on phone calls for over an hour in this day and age.
Up to 8 times a day.
How many people do you honestly
That's a
chat for that long on the
full
phone?
workday. That's a workday talking to your wife's best friend. I'm sorry, is she your wife's best friend or your
second wife?
Oh,
I'm just saying, like, what is going on here? Is he... Like, I remember OP did a little disclaimer in the beginning, but I'm like, are you sure there's no cheating going on? There's something weird happening.
I forgot about that disclaimer. Because
How
now
is she so sure that with that disclaimer?
Now I don't believe it.
I mean, if his own parents are literally pulling him aside going, dude, what are you doing?
He himself is a father of a daughter. And he's a grown man. Why does a grown man's parents need to tell him to take care of his own marriage and to not cheat and that he is making his wife uncomfortable? This is not like no little, what's his name, James or whatever, like, you know, you're misbehaving. No, like, dude, what are you doing?
You know what's even weirder to me? When his wife, like Sandra here, OP, confront him, his first thing is, oh, I didn't realize it made you feel that way. Like, I'm so sorry it makes you feel that way. I'm like, well, regardless, in respect of the relationship, do you think that's okay behavior?
No,
so if she was...
He has Carla's corner. He's in Carla's corner.
Yeah.
In that statement.
It's like he doesn't see anything odd about the situation.
He's saying like, oh, but Carla is going through this. That's not your job to take care of.
So is every lady who, you know, is lonely can call up her OP's husband and go, hey.
It's suspicious that Carla's not calling OP.
Right. Aren't they supposed to be the actual best friends?
Yeah. And now OP feels like a third wheel.
Why is she calling her mans like that? That's weird.
Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him, with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with a resolution in a couple days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Edit number 2. My husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla and she said that we could talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Edit 3. I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight alone as her schedule has changed. We are going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully, I will have some news. And then edit 4. I need some time. I will post an update later on. My heart is hurting. Hubby and I are getting a divorce. Thank you for understanding, everybody.
Always surprised with a divorce.
That escalated quickly, but not unsuspectedly.
Is he gonna leave OP for Carla? Are they getting together?
I don't know. I don't want to be so jaded, but it sounds like a typical story of a classic cheater.
Yeah. I don't understand where all the defense in the beginning for OP's husband came from because, I mean, dude.
Okay. So, like, stories I've heard, you just hear so many stories where when a man gets caught cheating, I'm just specifically speaking for stories where the man is a cheater. And I also know that women can cheat too. But I just hear so many stories. When the cheater gets caught, they start defending. Oh, I'm just helping them out. I'm just helping the other person go through their hardships. But when it starts putting a strain on your marriage, that starts getting sus. Like, to anyone else looking at it, it's so obvious that you're being a little suspicious here. And when they get called out, then their walls go up. Excuses start flying everywhere, left, right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just a classic story of a cheater.
Yeah. I'm confused, to be honest, on how OP let it go on for so long. Because, I mean, I'm assuming based on the storytelling, it started out from, you know, probably a phone call here and there, then more phone calls to hour-plus long whole conversations and venting sessions. I mean, First off, as a married man with a kid and probably a job, how do you have much time to devote on one other person?
A 6-month-old baby. You know what? I'm suspecting that this probably started maybe when OP was pregnant.
Like, it has to have started longer, like before. There's no way one day Carla just goes, oh, I can now just call the husband anytime I want.
Yeah. Well, let's see. OP provided an update. I'm already sad. Okay, update. This update is hard. Everything about the situation sucks, and I don't know if I will be okay for some time. Baby and I are currently staying with my friend Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or our mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group.
She was no longer a friend the minute she's just calling her husband up.
As most of you assume, James and Carla are indeed having an affair. Surprise, surprise. It started about 3 months ago and turned physical 1 month ago.
It was physical. That jerk.
It's like, I'm not surprised, but I'm still really upset.
Yeah.
They were planning on just up and leaving after James served me divorce papers. They used a ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact.
Huh.
I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse.
What do you mean clear the air? Hey, bestie, I slept with your mans.
That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason? The borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paper and left.
Wait, she handed OP?
Not even the husband?
The nerve.
I am contacting a lawyer as I am writing this. Okay, let this be a lesson to everyone. Lawyer up.
Always protect yourself, your rights.
I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I caught him afterwards and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterwards. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with my delivery of our daughter where I bled my entire labor.
Oh, that's devastating.
I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any extraneous activity for 3 months, including sexual activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all my doctor's appointments and not getting the sex that he wanted. I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, it will kill me next time. James wanted at least 2 more kids, and this put an end to his plans.
What a piece of... Thank goodness OP is getting the divorce, but I hope the worst befalls.
How can you see your pregnant wife deliver your child and have all these health complications and go through surgery to keep herself alive and just feel unsatisfied?
You know, my wife almost died, but you know what's more important? The cucumber is unsatisfied. That's the biggest problem here,
I
clearly.
understand, but there are other alternatives that does not involve another party.
What a selfish prick.
And to have like your mistress serve your wife the divorce papers?
That's cold. Heartless. Just, ugh. Wait, and he still wants rights to the child? That is crazy.
I married a monster. Yeah, perfect description. We were together since we were 15, and this is how he repays me. Oh my gosh, high school. I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I am absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure if I'm going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There's no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have access to baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice. Edit, I forgot to add that I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer.
Yes. Wow. just so like I love them. I love the in-laws or ex-in-laws.
Well,
right?
still in-laws technically.
Oh, because they didn't finish divorcing. Yeah.
Because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student, they have kicked James out and he is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for divorce proceedings.
Wow. Okay, so how does this happen? You know, there's always been a conversation of nature versus nurture. But if mom-in-law and Mark, was it? The stepdad? Stepdad-in-law. Their characters seem like decisive. They seem like morally somewhat righteous people. Like they did the right thing here. How did James happen? Well, where's the disconnect there?
And stepdad-in-law Mark, like, he was in James's life since he was 8.
Yeah.
He had a role model that he idolized.
Yeah, he had support. Like, I'm genuinely confused on how this happened.
And the relative comments, what stands out is he's threatening to use her bipolar status against her despite being a parent with bipolar type 2 autism and PTSD. LMAO, dude is evil and inept. OP says, I didn't say he was smart, did I? But with me having no financial way to support my child or a stable home, he has slightly better odds. I'm still in contact with his mom and stepfather. I'm hoping they will give me a place at their house for the time being. I feel like I'm being intrusive at Tanya's home. She was kicked out of their home.
So he's living there with his mistress.
Yeah. OP's ex-best friend.
Gross. And he still wants to raise his kid in that household? And basically erase OP's existence if he wanted her to give up all her rights as well.
Just like, how can you be the father of a daughter and treat your wife that way and cheat on someone else's daughter?
Here's my philosophy. Look, if you don't love someone anymore, like,
just call it quits.
Just literally call it quits.
But be upfront about it.
Yeah. You want to start something new? Start something new.
Yeah.
But don't do that while you have a partner, while you are in a partnership, you know, where the partner is not consenting to any other extra relationships.
Where's your consideration? This was someone that you grew up with, you built a relationship and family with.
15.
Yeah. And you have a child with, like, you have so much history, yet there's like zero compassion, zero consideration.
Mm-mm.
He let the mistress do all the work. You know what I think? I think the mistress is, dare I say it, a pick-me.
Oh, yeah. I forget, but she was also her ex-best friend.
Yeah. She was OP's best friend first.
Marry my husband vibes. For you guys that don't know, it's basically K-drama. Long story short, OP, you know, falls to her.
Or not OP.
See, now I'm mixing it up.
Lead.
The main lead of this series, basically, her demise, without spoiling too much, is caused by her, quote, best friend and her husband as well. So It kind of reminded me of this story.
Yeah. What's with it with, like, best friends trying to steal husbands? Is this
a common theme?
I don't know. I mean, like, if there's a K-drama about it and Reddit stories about it, it's kind of terrifying. And
Gross.
It's usually the people who know you best, yet still choose to harm you. Another relevant comment. I'm sorry you're going through this situation. As people say, trust but verify. You are relying on his parents, but be aware that they are his parents.
Yeah.
You need to have a support system that don't include them. OP says, I have no one else. My family turned their backs on me. I have no family members who can help. That's such a shame.
But I have to admit, there is some, I think, validity to that comment. Like, you can't just rely on his family. Like, they, honestly, they might be, like, true and kind and all that, but there's still a limit to how much they can support her.
At the end of the day, he's still their son.
Yeah.
And they have raised him since he was, stepdad's been in husband's life since he was 8. Now, obviously, mother-in-law has raised him since he was a baby. When push comes to shove, as things do in divorce, husband's family will never harm husband too much.
Yeah. Like, we don't know, right? They could have the best intentions. Maybe this case is different. We don't know. But I think OP definitely needs to find some way so that she needs to rely on herself.
People in her own corner.
Yeah.
But I understand right now she says she doesn't have anyone in her corner right now. I think the best case, you know, like since the in-laws are supporting her, she just, you know, like do what she can in that environment as she builds up dependence for herself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But she needs to really focus on building independence for herself because it's a tricky situation.
Did I say dependent? I meant independent.
Oh, yeah.
So this wasn't like a, am I the a-hole? It was looking for advice. OP was looking for advice. So what advice would you give OP?
I mean, it sucks. I don't even know where to begin. But I think, long story short, focus on getting independence for yourself. Obviously, you're going to have to rely on his parents for now. But I think the crucial part is you need to find some way for you to stand stably on your own. You cannot, like, this situation cannot go on forever. I don't know whether that means you might need to pause her studies and take up a job, to be honest, or figure out a different career path, because pre-law and long-term, that sounds expensive, but I don't know much about that. So now, before we hop into the next story, if you guys can please like the video and subscribe. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers, guys. It really helps the channel. Seems like today we're dealing with all sorts of snakes in our stories. Now, this next one is also about a chaotic family, but hopefully a little bit more lighthearted than the one we just heard. This one is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to host any more family get-togethers at our house because I hate hosting my in-laws and their poor manners? My husband and I finally bought our first house, a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, a year ago.
Oh, congrats.
Over the holidays, we thought we'd take on the role of hosting a few get-togethers. From my perspective, it was hell. I hated every second of it. I never really hosted anything or, quote, entertained or whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's just I'm not used to the requirements. But growing up, my mom and dad would host family and they were nothing like this. My in-laws did things like, and here comes the list of manners or mannerisms.
Okay, lay it on me.
My in-laws did things like let kids run around screaming, yelling, up and down stairs, touching things that didn't belong to them, making messes, and not making them clean up after themselves. I'll be honest, I can already hear it echoing the distance from your comments.
I just imagine running up and down the stairs.
Yeah. I can already imagine some of you guys are going to be like, what? That's nothing. Kids are kids. But I'll be honest, if they're in a place that's not theirs or, in someone else's space, they should learn from an early age that you need to respect other people's space and things.
Basic manners.
Yeah. Next one. Oh, there's a list. Parents didn't bring anything for the kids to do and got pissy with us for not having anything for them. Brought a dog into our house and let the dog onto the furniture. Left chairs sticking out of tables and counters instead of pushing them in.
I mean, I get it. It's annoying, but that's not the worst.
Yeah. I mean, compared to this whole list so far, I guess not the worst. Stomped around the house with their shoes on despite being asked to remove them.
Oh, okay. We are a no-shoe household. Do you know how dirty that is?
You walk with your shoes outside. Okay, I know part of it is a cultural thing. See, I'm Vietnamese and
I'm Chinese.
No outdoor shoes. Let me. You can wear slippers in the house. Like, feel free, but
indoor slippers.
Yeah, because I'm like, do you really trust whatever is outside? You don't know what's on the ground. You've been stopping all over, walking all over the place.
Not only that, when we got our floors replaced, I was told by the flooring company that avoiding wearing shoes inside will keep your floors lasting longer.
I didn't know that, but that makes sense.
There you go.
That makes sense.
Little info. FYI.
I love how that's the thing that got us both heated.
The floors. Not the floors.
All right, next. Oh, there's way more. Left trash, paper plates, etc. sitting around or balled up instead of placing it in the trash. Okay. I'm judging for this one. Opened multiple bottles and cans of drinks and only took a sip and left it open.
Oh, okay. That's another pet peeve of mine. I hate it when people just it's basically a full bottle, but it's open and you don't know who it belongs to. So you have no choice but to toss it out. But you just feel so guilty because a whole plastic bottle was used on it. And then like
all that water.
It's just
or juice,
such
whatever.
a waste. It's so wasteful.
We were literally just talking about this the other day. How sometimes at get-togethers, I don't understand how this happens. But apparently there's like over like 5+ like water bottles or drinks sometimes that get like a little sip, and you could see it's almost looks like it's full. It's left there, but when you ask, everyone's like,
it's not mine.
It's not mine.
It's not me.
It's not me.
Keep track of your bottles. Okay, something that I do as a host is I provide Sharpies so that I ask them to label or initial the top of their bottles with the Sharpie. It takes 2 seconds. Just pass the marker around, everybody writes their initials, and then we'll know whose water bottle it is.
A simple yet genius solution. I wish every host did that. I think it is so smart.
Just keep track of your water bottles. Carry it with you until you finish it. Something.
Because it's so wasteful.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Pulled out and used new rolls of toilet paper when there were still plenty left on the rolls. So what did they do with the current rolls? They just...
Was it not good enough for them?
I'm so confused right now. Opened medicine cabinets.
Oh, why?
Okay, so here's
everything you're listing is like a pet peeve of mine.
It's like, it gets weird for me. Some of these are just downright weird. So I watched the Seinfeld episode recently, right? Where the episode was all about how medicine cabinets, apparently, that some people, when they're using your bathroom, they'll go in and open up your medicine cabinet.
Oh, I
have never done that. So it was a shock to me that apparently some people do that.
What? Okay, I feel like a medicine cabinet is kind of private.
Right? I mean, it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like, it's not my space, but I'm going in and let me open drawers. Let me see what's happening.
What are you expecting to find? I understand the cabinet under a sink. Like maybe you're looking for toilet paper or like
toiletries, things like that.
But medicine cabinet, what are you going to find there? You're going to find medicine or makeup or, or it's just things that are very personal to the user.
Like, I understand. Okay, say you have a headache or something, but I'm like, usually you can just ask a host. Like, hi, like, do you have like a aspirin? Like, I'm getting a headache.
Yeah.
Like, you can ask, and most people will, especially your friends with family, and they're like, oh yeah, I can get you an aspirin. But they'll go digging around in people's like cabinets and stuff. And then there's still yet more to this list. But this is the last one. Only one person asked if we needed help at any point, and it was my husband's brother's new girlfriend.
No.
Who we were all meeting for the first time.
Oh.
She offered to help us clean up, bring out food, etc. Husband's brother's new girlfriend who they met for the first time. The only courteous guest.
Oh my goodness. I feel like they're sounding like they're just coming in to mooch.
Yeah.
Like, and then cause a mess and then leave.
At least clean up after yourselves. I don't know. Is this not a common thing? Like, if you use something like dirty tissues or like, don't look into other people's stuff. Like,
always offer to help the host. Like, yeah, it's a kind gesture. I mean, otherwise it just kind of feels like they're serving you. Like,
continuing, OP says, this was a terrible experience. My husband was shocked at his family's behavior and didn't know what to say. I don't blame him for this at all. He was just a part of the hosting as me, but he was seeing his family through new eyes as well. When he talked to his mom and dad after, they just laughed at us and said, quote, that's what hosting is. So we decided together we would rather not go through all that again. Easter is coming up, and my in-laws asked what our plans are. My husband said that we aren't going to host after everyone's awful manners. His mom and dad are upset with us. We have the big house, so they figured it would be on us from now on. We said that the only way we would ever even consider hosting is if every member of his house pitched in some way. They said that defeats the purpose of someone else hosting, and that no one should be expected to pitch in if we offer to host. So we said we won't host.
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
I don't get it. See, I'm under the impression that hosting means, you can use my space, but it's still an event that we're all participating in.
Like, I'll be the main supplier because it's my space. So obviously I have, like the basic necessities, but I'm not signing up to be your servant and your free like party venue.
I'm confused on, like, now I'm wondering, previous years, did no one ever like adjust the behavior so that everyone just assumes hosting is some sort of free-for-all craziness?
Well, it seems like since OP and her husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, since OP and her husband have, I guess, the bigger house of the family, that the family kind of feels like they're entitled to the space or to use the space. But I don't know if beforehand, like maybe no one else had a space big enough to host.
Maybe. Maybe I'm just not meant to host, but are we truly so far out of bounds to refuse to host anymore because of how his family behaves?
No, absolutely not.
Your space, generally your rules, within reason, obviously, but your rules, right? And some of these, they're not even, I was thinking, okay, maybe are the kids a little too loud sometimes or something like that. These are not, like, this whole list brought a whole dog. Wouldn't you usually say something to the host like, hey, can we bring a dog? And also, you know, where is the dog allowed?
Yeah.
Bring a whole animal here.
Or at least once you see that the host is unhappy with it, or if the host like brings it up, kind of adjust that behavior. You know, like maybe you're not coming in knowing what the host preference is, but at least adjust to make things a little bit easier on them. It's a lot of work to host.
Yeah, and to just brush it off, like the concerns as, oh, that's what hosting is.
Well, then we're not going to host.
Yeah.
So and that should be the end of it. Yeah.
Accept that just because they have a big house, that's not your space. You're not entitled to free usage. It's not a free venue. I think the kids' behavior is a big reflection of the adults around them's behavior.
Yeah.
Because with the adults, I'm just imagining, you know, crumpling up tissues, but just throwing them all over the place. And the kids are like grabbing everything, screaming, running, no restraint. I mean, it feels like a wild zoo.
Like, say, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, let's see what the comment said. Not the a-hole, ... In response to, they said that defeats the purpose of someone else hosting and that no one should be expected to pitch in if we offer to host. Commenter said, great, so they can host and you guys can attend and make a mess and leave it. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Tell them thank you for suggesting it.
Just as much as they're entitled to think what hosting is supposed to be, OP and her husband are entitled to just decide to not host then. They don't have to take on, like, they're not obligated to take that on.
Yep. I mean, it was a nice gesture, but I'm like, you know what? That's fair game. Next comment. Not the a-hole. Your house, your rules. What'd I say, guys? And if people are ignoring these rules, then I think it's fair not to host. I think it's valid to not want to host for any reason. But your list is wild to me. Going through the medicine cabinet is a huge one. I'd be worried about a hidden addict in the family. Oh, I didn't think about that. That's who does that. Some of them are easily mitigated. Pets on the furniture? Clarify no pets if you ever host again. But what really gets me is the shoe thing. I feel seen.
Shoes in the house ruin the floors and tracks dirt and whatever else you don't want from outside.
I'm just genuinely confused. For people that do wear shoes in your house, like outdoor shoes, when do you take off the shoes? Do you wear them all the way into the shower and then you take it off right before you go in the shower? And then do you put on shoes right after? Or do you go barefoot after you shower on the same floor that you just walked with your outdoor shoes?
I honestly don't know.
Like, when do you stop wearing shoes?
And like, before you shower, if you lay on your bed, are your shoes still on?
Are you wearing them on your shoes? Genuine question. Can you guys let us know? I'm super curious if you guys are like wearing shoes in the house.
Because I've never lived that lifestyle, so I just don't know. But I mean, my floor contractors, they agreed that, you know, shoes are not good for the floor. So that's enough justification for me.
I had a friend that she was the only person that I ever knew that wore shoes in her home. She wore them on the bed.
Really?
Yeah, except for when she sleeps, which was a weird concept to me.
Like, I'm the type that, like, if I'm wearing clothes, like, I'm out for the day and I go out in, like, clothes, well, I always go out in
when you go
but like okay, so like do you guys know, like, have you heard of like outside clothes and inside clothes?
Yeah, like
so if I'm wearing clothes and I went out, I will not lay in my bed in them. I will change first, and even then I'll like shower first.
I feel like people are gonna look at this video and they're like, oh my god, they're weirdo so germaphobes. What are they? Like, okay, sometimes depending on the day, like sometimes I'll just crash or whatever. Like I won't like if I didn't do anything crazy, right? Like I took a quick walk to I didn't walk, but like if I went to just the grocery store or like just to Trader Joe's and I went right back, am I gonna like fully wash my hair and shower and do the whole 9 yards? No, but I'm definitely gonna change before I get into my bed. And even then, like, I won't even go underneath the covers. Like I'll stay like at the foot of the bed on top of the covers. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I should do that too. I don't know. It's something. Maybe because like I also get like allergies. So I don't want to track like during the springtime. I don't want to track pollen onto anywhere I'm going to sleep. I just and then it'll irritate you because then the fabric like has the pollen. You're just laying there on I don't know. Maybe I'm just delicate. Okay. What really gets me is the shoe thing. It's super common in a lot of cultures not to wear shoes in house. It's something you should expect and respect when going to someone else's house. Such a baseline boundary that to disregard is absurd. What are you getting out of it to ignore that rule? A petty sense of control? I could deal with the chairs and even the messes, but if people went out of their way to spite the house rules for absolutely no reason, I wouldn't invite them back either. If they can't respect something as basic as no shoes, they don't have an iota of respect for you or your husband. Yeah, I mean, hosting, I expect a mess. Like, I expect, just like maybe a plate or like a cup or, the chair not being pushed in. I understand that. I'm okay with that. But just going through cabinets and leaving like bottles, like that's a huge pet peeve of mine. And just like shoes, and that would drive me crazy. It's and not offering to help, because the first thing I do when I go to like an event that's hosted by a friend or family, I'll ask, hey, do you need anything? And then when the event's over, you offer, hey, do you need help cleaning up before I leave? Even if I don't have that much time, I'll at least like try to do a little something, like, oh, I see a stray plate, I'm gonna toss it for them. I just don't think hosting is the green light to trash someone else's place. Yeah. Like, I think even the bare minimum, in my opinion, is just, offer to put away your own plate. Like, you don't have to. I don't think most hosts will, like, it's a nice gesture. Most hosts won't expect you to, like, do a crazy cleanup, but at the very least, I think bare minimum, respect their house rules and clean up your own plate at least. And, like, it's a brand new house that they just bought. Like, they're not hosting for their own, like, their own reward or whatever. No, in fact, like, a brand new house, you kind of don't want people over just yet. Everything's still, like, newish, and, it's like, you want to keep it in pristine condition as much as you can, but I don't know, just like have some respect for the host, because they're not really doing themselves any favors for hosting. It's weird. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, you want to see your friends and family, but like, just respectfully, just to each other. Be nice. All right, last comment. I have 7 siblings and 32 nieces and nephews ages 0 to 30. Everyone pitches in. Yes, it is hectic and kids make messes, but everyone helps set up and clean up. For your in-laws to expect you to host and do everything yourself is nonsense. My cousin's 3-year-old even picks up trash from the floor and tosses it in the trash can. He's 3. I think, honestly, adults have to set the example, and then the kids will follow. Yeah. So the verdict, Reddit said, was not the a-hole. Yay. I agree. I'm raising my flag to agree. Yeah. And you're not obligated to host, so not the a-hole. I guess you'll never be hosting. Although if OP really chose the petty route, she and her husband will go to the next family gathering and be like, oh, this is my napkin. Oh. Well, those were our thoughts on today's stories. We've had some wild ones. Let us know in the comments what you thought, whether or not you agreed with us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Honey Hearts Podcast, and Spotify, rate us 5 stars. Talk to you later. Thanks, guys. Bye.